after last night's impressive win, are you buying or selling this team may give us a summer to remember? What did you think about last night's win and what's going on with this team?
You know what? They're a team with guts now, Jared. I mean, the way they responded to adversity last night was really, really impressive. And Detroit may be terrible, but they're still professional hockey players. And to be down as many players as they were down, and to be handed just a horrific series of calls on that one penalty situation, and then kill off the penalty and just steamroll the Red Wings after that was really impressive. And I mean, look, we're getting to a point here. What are they, like 11-2 in their last 13 or something? I mean, the numbers are piling up. Okay, it's past the point. And this was, if I had another chance to ask John Hynes a question, I would have asked him this: are you past the point of saying you're hot and this is who you are now? Because they play the same way every night. This is who they are now.
What do you think about Hynes right now? I mean, I just said in the last segment, I never believed in Hynes. I didn't like the hire. I didn't, he was brought in to turn it around. He didn't turn it around, even though I thought he was a good guy. And his demeanor I liked. I never believed. And now I think I believe. What do you think of Hynes and the job he's done?
Well, look, I thought he got brought into a really tough situation because he was in a situation of trying to get guys to play hard again. And that's a tough deal. That's harder than teaching a system, okay, is getting guys to play hard and care again. And, so I thought he had a tough go from that standpoint. And he talked about last night, not having, with the coaching turnover, not having a lot of camp time and not having a lot of guys working together. And so they've had some time. But, look, for me, I've always liked him because of, and I didn't know anything about him until he got here. He's just very straightforward, very honest with us and with the players. I mean, that story with the, I can't remember who told it about Luke Cunnin. It really rang true with me. Just putting it all out in front of him. Play this way or somebody else will play instead of you. And, I love his honesty. I love his matter-of-factness. Like I said, we have a healthy question and answer session with him, and it's not, joking around, chummy, all smiles. I don't know if you've ever seen him smile, but that doesn't make him a bad guy. It's just, he's very professional, and he's continued to work at this thing professionally. And once they started giving him the effort that he was asking for, you see the results. Look, I don't know if John Hynes is the greatest coach in the world or not. I just know this. His team was terrible at the beginning of the season, and right now they're a house of fire. And I asked one of the players last night, how much credit does he deserve? Because I think he deserves some credit. I mean, when they stink, it's partially his fault. So when they're good, it's partially to his credit.
Mark Howard said when talking about John Hynes, Cory Curtis is with us, saying, hey, it's not fair not only to be put in the spot he was put in, but you're replacing Peter Laviolette and Barry Trotz. I mean, it's not like the fans here have had bad coaching. And, watching last night's effort after Hynes got the penalty, something I don't think I ever saw Laviolette do. And I know Laviolette is not easy on those officials. I said to myself, this looks like a Barry Trotz team. I mean, just the everybody fighting together, everybody working their butts off. Sometimes these games are going to be painfully boring, but that's okay. This looks like a Barry Trotz team. Do you feel that way right now with this group?
Jared, I know agreeing with each other is boring radio, so I'm sorry, but I totally agree with you because we've got a lot of younger guys or journeyman type guys also who are really chipping in right now and giving the effort that they need. But I thought that was a big moment because, obviously because of what happened afterwards. But, I mean, look, to me, I'd throw Ernie out over that play because that is like the most dangerous play in hockey. That's what gets guys concussions. That's what gets guys neck injuries and shoulder injuries. And for them to take it down from a major to a 2-minute minor was ridiculous. I'm all about throwing guys out because if you don't want fighting in the game, you have got to crack down on that call. That wasn't even a hard call. That was an easy call. And the fact that he was willing to stand up for his players and say, I will take a 2-minute penalty and whatever happens afterwards, but I'm going to let my players know I'm not standing for this. They're going to have to take care of the guys on the ice who did it. I will take care of the zebras on the ice who let it happen.
Cory Curtis, News 2, is our guest. You are David Poile, which means the decision is yours. What happens on Monday?
Largely nothing. Because, look, we're just at that point. This team is hot, and they're hot at the right time. I'm not touching it. Unless it's one of the vets that they've got who's really kind of lost his place because the young guys have simply replaced him. But the guys that are contributing to you right now, I mean, look, I'd love to get a second-round pick for Granlund. I would. But you can't. You can't. Because the way this team is playing right now, you don't know what can happen in the playoffs. Could they lose to Tampa or Florida 4-1? Absolutely. Could they stun them 4-2, 4-3? Absolutely. You've got to give them that shot. I think they've earned it at this point. I wouldn't be a buyer, but I wouldn't really be a seller. I mean, I would selectively be a seller. Of course, unless somebody wanted to take Duchesne off my hands, I would make that deal.
Cory Curtis, News 2, is our guest. What do you think Poile will do?
I don't think he's going to do much. I mean, look, he's all about riding his guys, and he wanted to see more and wanted to see more, and they rewarded him. So I don't see him rocking the boat for a team that looks like it's headed to the playoffs. I just don't. I mean, he didn't have that many years left, okay? I mean, I don't know how many years David's going to be doing this much longer. And, to potentially poison the pot, when you got something special working here, I don't see him touching it. I mean, like I said, minor moves. I don't see anything major happening, buying or selling.
Cory, what do you make of all the injuries? I mean, of all the inexplicable things about what's been going on, I mean, even last night's game, Olivier out 4 to 6 weeks, Forsberg moved to IR, Fabro and Tolvanen week to week. I mean, they play Tampa on Saturday. They could lose 8-1 to Tampa probably on Saturday, and I'm not sure we could fault them considering the on paper talent that's on the ice. And yet they keep winning with it. What do we make of the injury situation and how they're winning through it, and what our expectations should be with Tampa on Saturday, knowing it's a big game, but knowing all the guys that are out?
What does it remind you of, Jared? You remember a team that went to the Stanley Cup with Colton Sissons as the first center and Freddie Gaudreau lining up there at center as well, and he didn't even have a locker? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's exactly what it reminds you of. Is, you got all these guys stepping up, giving everything. The amount of injuries is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But, I always like the saying that adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. And it has revealed, more about this hockey team and what they have in their system. And that those guys are guys that they can roll with. Now, look, at some point, you're going to get out-talented, and maybe that happens Saturday night. But I think what's been amazing to me, and I brought up Cunnin, Victor Arvidsson, his first game back last night, he gets the hat trick. UC Saros was out, and ever since he's come back, he's been a house of fire. These guys, they get out, and they see what's happening, and they take it to a new level when they come back because they know if they don't, they will not play. And so I think it's been really interesting to watch the level the guys are playing at when they get a chance to get back on the ice after injury.
Cory Curtis, News 2, Fireball Hot Take Friday. Cory, it is a tradition unlike any other. Your hot take of the week. What do you have?
You know what? The shot of the day yesterday at Augusta National was Rory Mcilroy drilling his dad with the golf ball, right? My one take is this. Your son's playing at Augusta National, and you're not watching?
I mean, Dad's busy. Rory takes a lot. I'm sure Dad has watched a lot of shots that Rory has taken at Augusta National. I'm sure Dad is incredibly grateful for the opportunity. This time he's just kind of He was
He's the
probably
one
watching
player
Sports
who
Extra
should not
Daily
hit
on
you.
News 2 on his phone.
He probably was watching Sports Extra Daily, but he's the one player who should not be able to hit you. Of all however many players on the course, that's the one guy who shouldn't be able to hit you.
Getting hit in that scenario is a little tough for me to fathom, because even if you're not Rory's dad, aren't you paying attention to Rory? I mean, I walked inside the ropes. I snuck behind Pat Forty at the PGA in 2014 on a Friday, and it was, I believe, Bubba Watson, Rory, and Ricky Fowler, I think, were all playing together, and I was inside the ropes. It was like me, Pat Forty, and Tom Rinaldi, and we were just kind of walking inside the ropes. And I mean, every time Rory went to shoot, I didn't breathe when Rory was shooting. So I know he's not the same Rory McIlroy right now, but I would agree with you. Cory Curtis, News 2, as always. Cory, it should be an eventful trade deadline. And of course, we got tons of draft stuff to get into. So we will be talking very, very soon.